So for today, our topic would be the 2013 Bohol earthquake. And for someone to accompany me, we have four lovely ladies from Southern Leyte State University. Let me introduce to you Mae Margareth Villamor, Phaionna Arsenio, Megan Grace Layo, and Yrrianne Venz Saz.
Good day. Thank you so much for inviting us here in your podcast to discuss the 2013 Bohol earthquake. We are so grateful to share our insights about it.
So good day. So as I've said earlier, our topic would be the 2013 Bohol earthquake, also known as the Great Bohol earthquake. So may I ask each and every one of you, what was your experience during that calamity, or have you remembered something about it?
I mean, I didn't really remember that all because I was a kid back then, and I remember it was like 2013, so it was like it was on the news and many people were talking about it, and it was like 7.2 magnitude earthquake, and it really can damage a lot of areas.
In Bohol, I think that, yes, we were so young during that time, 2013. We were like grade 3 or grade 4. So, personally, I didn't know it until I was already in grade 7 or something, because my parents were talking about it because we had relatives over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were talking about their experience, and it was really scary daw. And I think that Bohol wasn't the only area that was affected. I think
there were many.
Yes, based on my research also, Cebu, Siquijor, Negros Occidental,
And
Iloilo were also the areas that was affected by the 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Bohol. And there were 222 people dead. Is that right, Miss Host?
Yeah, it was actually 13 deaths in Cebu, 208 in Bohol, 1 in Siquijor, and 1 in Siquijor.
Oh, okay.
And there were actually 101 injured in Cebu, 692 injured in Bohol, and 1 in Negros and in Iloilo.
Oh, okay.
So there were actually many.
Yeah, there were like many injuries. That's so sad, no?
Yes, I've heard it's the deadliest earthquake in the Philippines.
Over a long time.
Yeah, since the 1990 Luzon earthquake.
It must be traumatic for them, no?
Yeah.
Kuan.
The emotional and the physical.
Yeah, it was actually a trauma.
Yeah.
And I've also, based on my research, it was 3,066 aftershocks, but only 84 were felt.
Yeah,
So imagine the numbers of
Aftershocks. I think earthquakes happen every day, but we just don't
because
feel it. Yeah, I think it's the nature of the tectonic plates to really move. So the 3,066 aftershocks, after that, is really a great number, you know. And 84 were actually felt. So the emotional trauma that the people felt there was really great.
And
You know, after sa 7.2 nga magnitude nga earthquake, na napoy daghan nga nagsunod. So
We're talking about the earthquake that happened on October 15 in 2013, right?
yeah, October 15, 2013 at 8:12 a.m.
I heard it lasted about 34 to 35 seconds. Is that right? Or
Yes, I've also read that from I've also read that from the internet. It's really real and it's so
Like,
devastating.
how it was like fast, but the damage was like very powerful.
Yes, it was this the time that the earthquake happened was actually long also. 34 seconds is already long for an earthquake, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes just 10 seconds or even 8 seconds, you know. So 34 seconds, it will really cause a great damage. I think the damages that the 7.2 magnitude earthquake has caused was 2.2 billion. Yeah, really 2.2 billion.
Structures,
Yes.
To think that the buildings were not strong enough for the earthquake like in like kanang compared to Japan that was like kanang
Yes,
like
Japan actually developed
that
a
earthquake.
A new technology.
Yeah, a new technology
Like
for their
they
buildings
put-
to be earthquake proof because they are very susceptible to earthquakes. Yeah,
Their buildings were like if there's going to be an earthquake, the buildings were like kanang go with the flow with the earthquake. At the
Yeah.
Philippines, I think
They
kanang
just learned that because they really need to earthquake proof their buildings because they are very susceptible to to earthquakes. You know.
Yeah, Japan.
maybe it wasn't really it didn't exist back then in
Yeah.
2013 or it
I
does.
don't know. I don't know
Technology
about
wasn't
that.
as advanced as it was now.
Yeah. And imagine there were 670 families that were affected and 75,000 displaced families after the earthquake.
It's so sad, you know, like people after the earthquake. How many is it? 75,000 families were displaced.
Yes.
Imagine it having a home to seek shelter into because of the earthquake. That's
And
really sad.
I think they just put tents.
Yeah, I think so too. They after the earthquake they were afraid to go back to their homes, so they just built tents in open areas so that they can have a safe space for them, you know, to sleep, to eat, and to just really took in.
I mean, I think it was really kanang dangerous to go back to your home because it was damaged.
Yeah, and also because of the aftershocks.
Right? We're having those kind of damage. So you really have to move on to a tent.
Yeah, they have to settle for tents because they have no place to go to because majority of the buildings there were having cracks. It's either they have cracks or destroyed by
Destroyed.
the earthquake.
So
Even the
yeah.
hospitals are destroyed and the airport, the ports. So
Even the
Yeah, Bohol was declared under the state of calamity.
after that.
like
Yes.
the power lines and the signals were like damaged.
Yeah, all of them actually.
So
damaged.
lost contact of other
They
places.
have no access to anything. News, like their to communicate with their families on what's happening with them. No, there were no available
People were
communication.
worried sa outside of Bohol, worried of their family that they live in Bohol.
So, what do you think were the emergency protocols before the event that resulted to the people not being prepared
I think
for the earthquake?
I think they like held a kanang drill.
Yeah, because even
Yeah, earthquake
schools,
drills are mandatory,
Yeah,
you know,
pero-
for all of the schools.
Yeah, pero like kanang schools or they don't really take it seriously.
yeah.
So actually, before the earthquake happened, the government implemented lots of protocols.
Yeah, they
Like-
did.
Just like what Megan said about the emergency drills, and the government actually planned evacuation centers before it happened and secured the routes so people could easily go to the evacuation centers.
I think evacuation centers are not really that well built. They're just built with
Usually they
not
don't.
strong materials, so it isn't really susceptible. It isn't strong enough to combat a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. I think all of the evacuation areas, or most of the evacuation areas,
Yeah.
were actually destroyed during the 7.2 magnitude earthquake.
Yeah, people weren't really that prepared and they didn't really expect the earthquake to happen.
Yeah, because no one actually
seconds, you
knew.
can just go to evacuation centers.
You will really panic first. Like the first thing that
Shock.
comes to your mind is like panic because it's very strong, and people
You don't
were-
really know what to do because you're panicking.
Yeah. And people were like taking videos. Oh, yeah. Videos, actually, I saw this video. They were near a church. And it was
I also
caught
saw
there.
that.
Yeah. It was caught and how the church collapsed. That's really sad for them. And everyone was like shouting. And they were really panicking.
Yeah, for me, cause
There's a lot of churches too, like
Yes. Yeah.
Logo, Norine, and Makabon, something like that.
Historical sites were destroyed during the
yeah,
earthquake. A
it
lot
was
of
so
them.
devastating because it was historical, like colonization period of the Spanish.
Yeah, because
church.
Bohol is full of historical places.
Yeah,
It was
like-
churches.
One of the churches I know is like
Lubok.
Lobok. And there was other churches in Bohol, but I didn't remember them.
More on the government protocols, the government actually collaborated with the LGU Bohol and stationed medical workers, police officers.
Before,
Yeah.
how would they what? How would they station medical workers? Where were they stationed?
Perhaps in the evacuation center, but that's just what I heard from the articles I've read about it.
I don't think so, because earthquakes aren't expected.
Yeah.
So I don't think so that there
Yeah,
were
with-
police officers.
With the perspective back in
and
2013,
nurses.
with the perspective back in 2013 that that really kanang technology, like right now hiding, there's our phones detect more earthquake right now, like kanang mo detect na siya compare sa una na murag kuha ng technology gamay ng cellphone.
Yeah. What are the other government protocols that you've read on
Before the earthquake.
what are the government protocols on earthquake if an earthquake happens in that area? Because the earthquake was really strong. So I don't think, Philippines, we are situated in the Pacific Ring of Fires. We have many volcanoes, and also we are very prone to earthquakes. So during the 2013, what do you think? What are the government protocols that was implemented before?
Not much would actually come out. So I guess that the Bohol earthquake was actually an eye-opener to improve the protocols before an earthquake, because no one actually really expected a strong earthquake like that
Yes.
to happen.
Yes, I don't think so that they had proper protocols, a disaster risk management, a comprehensive disaster risk management plan. Because on one interview that I saw, a foreigner was interviewed. And he told the news reporter that the LGUs or the people, the governors, the mayors, were also just waiting for what will the higher ups like decide to do. They were just waiting in their offices on what to do.
Yes.
They have no idea actually.
I mean, the government is
I
so
think.
slow. The people were like they were so giving complaints on the government for being so slow.
Yes, the first few hours after a disaster are really important.
Yes, because I've
There-
also heard that after the earthquake, yes, it was a day after the rescues arrived in Bohol. Their response are very slow.
Yeah.
Many people died and injured. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of injuries occurred, right?
Yes.
Yes, in many areas.
And the helicopters were like just passing by.
Around.
Checking the area.
Yes, I've also heard that because the signals, I think, the signals are cut out because of the infrastructures that was collapsed.
Yeah.
The signals are not anymore able to reach their
The area.
It's hard for the helicopter to land because there's no
Yeah, there's-
communication or connection.
Oh.
and they don't even actually, I think, know where to land
Yeah.
because the ground, I think, is still
The
fragile.
communication was cut off. That's why they didn't really respond. Dayon.
But in my opinion, I think the reason for the less advanced protocols was because of more casualties than we could have imagined. Because at that time where you said that the health units and the emergency response unit was just waiting around for the orders of the higher
Yes.
ups. Yeah, I think that's the reason why they need to improve the protocols, because instead of just waiting around for the official statements
Yeah,
of
they
what
should-
to do, they
I
should
know,
have just
done
took that
something.
time to rescue other people with the resources that they have.
Yes, I think that neighboring regions, like Region 8, us, because we are just near Bohol, right? So I think we could have helped them, if there was a protocol about other, or I think if we knew, like our government here knew that Bohol needed some help, but actually there were a lot of damages on the road. So it's like really hard to
it
go
was
there by
difficult.
land.
Yes.
So preferably go with the helicopter.
Yeah, it would be more preferable if the rescues, the relief goods would travel there by air, because a lot of cracks.
Yes.
There were a lot of
It was
broken
dangerous
bridges.
It would arrive late. If
Yeah.
Land.
Yeah,
I don't think so that it could pass.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It was dangerous for a car to.
Yes, it will really be dangerous for a car.
There are roads, I think, that is.
Yeah, all of the roads, majority of the roads
Were
in
cracked.
Bohol were actually damaged, so there was no way of getting past through that except for
Like the bridges
traveling through air. Bridges were
broken.
Yes.
And it was so dangerous for.
Billion, right?
yeah, this
Yeah,
2.2
2.2 billion. Imagine the damages that was done by the earthquake. But I've also heard that there are many changed protocols after the event.
Did we, like, it was a fast one or not? Like, fast recovery for the.
No, it was actually not.
Actually, a lot of articles actually stated that Bohol was immediate to build back better. But actually, there was no follow up on what really happened during that time. So I don't think so. There were also conflicts on the LGUs and international some organizations. So the rehabilitation areas were put to a hold because of that. And also, I think that the emergency protocols of the government were lacking. Yeah, at that time, during the 2013 Bohol earthquake, they weren't clear, based on my research, they weren't clear kind of protocols on what really did the LGU of Bohol do during that time.
But the recovery, I mean, after the damage,
After
like,
the
how
event.
many years, I think? About the years?
Yeah, like years
that.
rebuild.
They rebuild and enhance their technology and preparedness of the people.
I heard that the economy or like the businesses in Bohol had a very hard time to go get back
recover
Yeah, to
after
recover because
They
people was traumatized and there were like tourists was scared to go back there and a lot of
So
them
but how many
really
years
affected
they?
their
But how many years they? They
I don't know. It took a lot of years. It took
They
a lot
advanced,
of years.
they
we can't
enhanced
to recover.
we can't actually tell how many years because we are not there.
But they.
And
Yeah, actually, I've read an article that they've actually created a book.
oh yeah,
yeah.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, a book about the disaster risk management, a comprehensive plan actually on what to do
So they have their
before and
experience
during
and knowledge.
and after earthquakes. That book was written after what happened in Bohol. So just like what Yrrianne said, I think that the Bohol earthquake was actually an eye-opener for the government to really create a comprehensive disaster risk management plan.
Yes, for people to be aware.
Yes.
And for the people to know what to do when events like that occur. Not just earthquake, but floods, tsunamis.
I think that individuals also, like people also need to change their mindset. Like building their houses with much stronger materials is actually
have
a
their
good
knowledge
investment.
Yes. It would really cost them much, but it
it would take time.
would take time.
They have.
It
They
would
gain
make them
knowledge.
safer.
I mean,
Yeah, it would be safer to actually build your houses
I think
with
they
strong
have-
materials because it's a good investment, and it would be
Last
it
long
would
than
be strong enough to combat an earthquake.
I think they have a knowledge. They have knowledge before. Then after they have gained more knowledge about the earthquake.
The only positive thing from the 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Bohol was that people now are better prepared.
Yes.
Because before, the only thing people know how to do was to duck, cover, and hold.
Yeah,
Because
because
of
of the
the
earthquakes
It's very common enough.
Yeah.
Earthquakes are common.
But because of that disaster, we've risen up stronger, and that's a positive thing. That's a good thing because instead of people just waiting around for the government to rescue them, they learn how to take care of themselves.
So experience is the best teacher, really.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's,
experience.
Yeah, but
that's
you could
actually true.
avoided that.
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
not
were
saying
better prepared.
Yeah, I'm not saying the response of the government being slow and took hours was a good thing, but yeah, experience can be a good thing.
At least there wasn't a tsunami after the conflict.
Yeah, actually, people were like running up to mountains and higher places in the fear of having a tsunami because the earthquake was really strong.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they expected a
So they thought
tsunami.
it was under, it was on the ocean.
Yeah.
Good for them for not having
earthquake.
Yeah,
getting
they
a
thought that it was an oceanic tectonic plate that
Yeah,
moved,
but
but
it was
thankfully it
actually-
wasn't.
Yeah,
So there,
thankfully.
there wasn't a tsunami. during
Good
that
for
time.
them that there wasn't a tsunami because it will add
And good
another
for them
one.
also for being
For being-
initiative.
Yeah,
Yes.
thinking that way.
At least they have knowledge before, but
Yeah.
they gain knowledge after.
Yeah.
The
So,
decision was actually a good thing because do you remember in Yolanda, like where people didn't know there was a tsunami that was coming?
yeah, and
Ay,
they were
storm
trapped
surge.
on,
Yeah, storm
ano,
surge.
I actually forgot the
Yeah, people
stadium.
weren't that
Yeah, it was
prepared.
the big dome or
Yeah.
something.
And it was, beside the sea,
So,
the ocean.
And a lot of people were there
Because of-
seeking
it
for
was at
shelter,
evacuation
center.
Oh, compare sa
And then all
earthquake.
of the people there died.
So the decision of the people of Bohol to actually move to higher areas, that was actually a good
Oh,
decision
yeah,
because
decision.
decision.
Because in case
Yeah,
of the
it's better
tsunami.
to prevent,
Prevent
than to
than-
cure.
their initiative was actually a good thing because if there was a tsunami and
At
the
least they-
government acted that slow, it would be
It
very
would
bad.
cause
Oh,
much death and much more damage.
Yeah.
yes.
So, on your opinion, what could have been done better by the government or the people? What are your opinions about that?
Okay, so for me, the government should have, I think they've done it already,
Yeah.
They created a well-planned disaster risk management. In our areas right now, we have standby. I think in our municipality, we have standby relief goods stored.
I
I
don't
think.
think that they have in ours. But good thing that you
Yeah,
have.
I really think that because every time I would pass by a certain area, there were like some sacks of rice and
Good thing.
yeah.
Because your community is beside the sea, right?
Yeah, our community is beside us, so thankfully we have stored relief goods, and also, the book that they created. They also held press conference, meetings with the local government units in
So
Bohol.
they could educate.
Yeah,
their
so they could
community.
educate the
Much
people,
better.
and also we have MDR MOs.
Yeah.
In each barangay.
Yeah, in our
trucks.
in our local areas we have that. I don't think we have that before. When
We
was that
don't.
implemented?
I don't. I think it was 2020. I don't know exactly when because at first it was the fire trucks, diba?
Okay.
But now we have.
Yeah, we have
MDR.
more access now.
Yeah, we have. Yes, I think that was also a good thing, and also for the government, they could have been responded better.
Yes.
Responded
They could have
better.
done
They could have find ways, not just waiting for the higher ups. Like they could have find ways to communicate with the locals.
Yeah,
Because
they
there
could have
weren't
responded
internet during that time. They could have surveyed the area, or really before the event, they should have planned better. Like they were MDR MOs in well-trained personals who could help rescue people and first aid kits, because the hospitals were damaged, so they couldn't seek help from there.
Why can't they just use radio call? Like communication ba? Like
Their
No one's
communication
actually prepared,
towers
so
were
no one
down.
actually thought about that. Maybe they have radios, but the signal, they lost signal.
And
Because
also
the signal,
government.
But actually,
signals
back
were
then,
out back then.
back
during the
then,
earthquake.
do you remember when I said that the standby lang agtanan mga health units and the local government response? It was actually because back then their movements were highly controlled by the president, and they couldn't do anything without
that's
official
why.
statement from him at that time.
So that was actually
That
possible.
actually kind
Pero
of
I
slow.
think if you have like common sense, you would not the
Yes,
people.
of course. Why would you just be in standby when people are dying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Many people actually died because of that.
You can see
Because like I said, their movements were controlled. But good
Yes.
thing now, the government did better and they were trained.
They still
better.
help, like, they still, like
Yeah, they actually may rescue
a bit slow, but at least.
they did rescue. So yeah. So that's it for our today's episode. So thank you guys. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you so much for having us. I hope you learned something from our podcast.
Okay, so thank you for joining us today for this episode of Norine's podcast. Stay tuned for more insights into how we navigate crisis and emerge stronger together. Remember, preparedness saves lives.
Bye!